What's up, boys and girls?
We're here.
I bought an NC.
No,
no, just kidding.
I bought an NC.
Matchew got an NC.
I got a PRHT NC Club,
2013?
2013. So I don't know if everybody here knows like my car situation. I bought Quinn's old white FD, this project car. I'm taking over that project. I have an Exomotive Exoset as well. So
which he bought me out of.
Yes, which my dad and I bought Quinn out of. So I have, and I also have I had a red turbo NA Miata. Now, a lot of that seems redundant in my opinion. Like I have a race car that's turbocharged BP. I'm going to have a cool 90s JDM car that's also turbocharged and rotary, which is cooler than BP. Let's be real. Why do I need another 90s JDM turbocharged clunker? I don't know, just a little like tin can, let's call it, because it was mint. Like the car was mint. I actually found somebody on Facebook Marketplace. Shout out to you, Jeff. He's a really cool guy. He had this NC up for sale. It's got a little bit of mileage on it. It's 100,000 miles, but it's a PRHT Club, which is the one you want. Limited slip differential. It had Bilsteins. No longer has Bilsteins, but it's the NC you want for like a daily driver, and that's really what I want. I want something a little bit more comfortable.
You get this really cool club badge on the
front. Yeah, I know. Look at that club badge. I know, it's awesome. And it's also black.
I want that.
And it's the fact that it's a black club also, like I'm not a big fan of the interior, like the white ones that have like the crash pad.
Well, just the fact that on white the hardtop is black.
Yeah,
not
that
white.
too.
Yeah.
So the interior's got the no colorful accents or anything like that. Super clean. Well, not super. Well, it's getting there. I'm working on it. But yeah, so like the owner of this, he wanted something more raw and more of a race car because this used to be his daily driver, and then he picked up another daily driver, and he thought this thing might have been like a little bit too heavy, a little bit too soft. So he wanted something a little bit more raw. And I wanted something a little bit more soft that makes more sense to daily drive. So we just swapped.
All this talking about raw and soft, I don't know.
I know.
I'm so confused.
So we swapped. We did an even trade on this thing. And
I've been making jokes with all of our small group of car friends that we got to have our own Toge class. Everybody needs Toge 200 vehicles so I can drive my RX-8 and NB Miata and we'll go battle.
Yeah, I like that idea a lot. And, I'm hoping to do like a nice, mild, naturally aspirated build with this thing. It's obviously going to like retain power steering and AC and everything like that, but that'd be awesome to have around 200 horsepower.
K-swap.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't released like pricing or anything yet. K Miata, if you're listening, you're probably not. And I know Speed Academy is already working with you, but I literally bought an NC because you came out with that kit.
Anyhow, so we're gonna see what we can pull out of the stock 2-liter MZ mill.
Yep.
And for those of you who don't know, there's a revision in these on the NC2 bodies from the NC1. Is it just forged rods? Or
and crank.
Oh, the crank is forged also, and it revs higher. The rev limiter is set 500 RPM higher to 7,500 versus 7, which is nice because if the development on my NB engine taught me anything, that was a 7,000 or 7,200 RPM rev limit, and that thing has seen 8,000 RPM. I dropped the rev limiter to 7,800 just because I don't want to blow it up. The 200 RPM is not worth it. I'm not sure if it would, but it takes 7,800 RPM all day on the regular. So this can definitely be an 8,000 RPM car.
Which is the last number on the TAC too, which is awesome.
Which is cool. I mean, I think a true sports car engine, the party starts at 8,000, or I mean, the party is at 8,000, right?
Yeah,
you can get it up there, and it sounds good. It's exciting.
There's a lot of people say 2.5 swap these things. I like the idea of torque, but honestly, like that's a lot of weight in the pistons moving around. They're stroked, like so they get that torque down low.
I just don't think that block's going to handle. Like Mazda doesn't do the support that Honda does for the crank to keep it from deforming under high RPM loads. So like I don't like the idea of a longer stroke version of this engine. I mean, if you want revs, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
If you want revs. But I think you can probably pull, if I did 185 on a 1.8, BP. I mean, you're not going to mill the head on this, but you got a little bit of compression to play with. Is it 10.5? I think it's 10.5 if I remember correctly when we looked at it. So
I don't know off the top of my head.
You got a little compression, so it'll respond well to cams.
Yep, cams.
Because you're going to bleed off some of that compression. A good header full of exhaust.
A good header and a tune.
There's ITB options.
Yep, BBR. Come on. There's not really a lot of American content.
How many people are you begging to hear? First K-Power, now
I know. Yeah.
So I think you could do realistically 185 to 200 wheel without going
mild.
Nuts.
Yeah.
Mild.
Without like destroying the thing.
And maybe I haven't looked. It's been a little while since I looked at like stock internal minus like camshafts and stuff and C's to see who's making what now for power. But that may be sufficient in this car.
Yeah.
So you definitely have more torque in it just by being the 2-liter over what like the 1.8 NB had. I personally have always liked the NC. I always say like low key it's my favorite Miata, and I say that just because like especially like looking at Matt's car, the NC2, probably the NC3 I think was the best looking one. The bumper is it's just got a nice aggressive aesthetic to it that's like more comparable to the S2000.
Exactly. I think they were taking styling cues from the S2000 directly.
The headlights on the Club literally look like massaged AP1 S2000 headlight, but it's a nice look. And then you incorporate the bulgy fenders, right?
Yep.
Which is like kind of homage from the RX-8's bulgy fenders. It's just a really nice looking car. It doesn't look like I don't have a better word for this, but it doesn't look feminine. It makes my white Miata look a little like more like girly next to it. Like this looks like just like a more masculine, like aggressive Japanese car, like what you would expect out of like a Japanese sports car.
Yeah.
Like the other Miatas are just soft, right?
Yeah.
And this isn't some like sex debate or anything like that. It's just I don't have a better way to describe it, right? It's just a more manly looking car. But I like the size of the NC, and I think the chassis is wonderful.
Yep, it is a great chassis. I felt like $1 million driving this thing. Like I drove like an hour to go pick this thing to go make the trade, and like it was fine driving the NA. I put some like street-based like coilovers on it. It was okay, but like going from that to then this thing, driving it home, it just felt like $1 million.
Yeah, I mean it's RX-8 derived suspension, just shortened stroke on the shocks and shortened wheelbase. So I always say RX-8 has the best mechanical suspension I've ever experienced out of any car. So I'm excited to see where we're able to take this and how it responds, and who knows, maybe it would really twist my arm to like do a KNC one day, but it's just so redundant for me.
Yeah, I know. It's like if you didn't have an S2000, all-motor ITB, and RX-8, which is kind of like everything together. Like the NC is kind of all of that together. A K-swapped NC would be like all of that together.
Right. But this is awesome because we have a lot of relevant benchmarks here. So I guess the first car that should be on the target for this is my RX-8, right? That made 200 wheel horsepower and it's heavier. So we'll do some racing and toge comparisons on this, and then if it could beat it or match it, we'll put it up against the NB. And I think ultimately your end game goal, if you want to keep this a naturally aspirated driver's car, would be my AP1.
Yep.
That should be the target car.
Which it's got a little bit less weight, not much, but you've got a good amount of power out of that thing.
Yeah.
So it's going to take a lot to match that level, I think.
It's almost at what I keep calling like the golden ratio, the 10-100 ratio, and that's 10 wheel horsepower for every 100 pounds the car weighs. So if you have a 2,400 pound car, it needs to make 240 dyno wheel horsepower, dyno jet.
Yeah, NA. I think that's a great target.
Yeah, and that's not like an end-all car, but for just something that's like a real good balance of power versus weight ratio for like ripping around on the street, right?
Exactly. I'm not highway racing this thing. I don't care about drag racing.
That power level is not winning drag races, but just for like a driver's car, an enthusiast car.
Yep.
So we should tell them we don't have much good driving footage on this because, as you'll see in a moment, well, you tell me.
Yeah, I'll say. So it had some modifications done to it. The previous owner did do a few autocross events with this thing. It had a set of Buddy Club P1s, proper, like not Kosei, or Kosei, I don't know, whatever.
Kosei, K1s.
It had proper Buddy Club P1s. When he did the Yahoo Japanese auction bid, he didn't realize it was for 2. So that's why it had mismatched wheels. The fronts were Buddy Club P1s, which were 17x9 plus 37, a little aggressive for an NC. And the rears, he bought a set of Koenig, I think they're Hypergrams, which are 17x9 plus 40. Still pretty aggressive. They rub in the back. It's on a set of
Wait, he had Laura Austin in the front?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why they poked out a little bit.
Yeah, it's too aggressive. This thing was Rub Nation.
Yeah, it was rubbing a lot.
Can't push it.
Yeah, I want to try and potentially raise the height up a little bit because it's a little low because I scraped in my driveway and everywhere else. But the big thing was to try and get rid of the rubbing. I'm the most original Miata owner in the planet. Why don't you go grab that thing right over there?
You know, everybody talks about these wheels like they're a bad thing.
I know, like it drives me freaking crazy. Tell me a better wheel
For the money.
For the money, like
that's this light.
That's that light. That's
and
strong,
still looks good.
And looks good. It has a flat face. You can't. It's hard to get concave out of the offset on NCs is you can't go very aggressive on them. So getting a concave wheel is difficult.
These are with a 45, 17 by 9 with a 45 offset.
17 by 9 45. So I'm going 8 millimeters in the front and 5 millimeters in the rear. That should help get rid of some of the scrubbing. You know, when I start like, you know, pushing this thing. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try it. We're going to swap out the wheels. It has for tires. It has a set of BFGoodrich G-Force Rivals
R1s.
R1s in 245 40 17.
Which is kind of big, I think.
Yeah, they're big. I probably wouldn't have gone that big.
For competition, that's fine, but for street and like hooning around, like if you don't, especially if you don't want rubbing. So we may have to figure something out for the tires, but we're going to mount them.
Yep.
And this is immediate weight savings.
Yeah. No, it's we did the weight savings. It was like 2.1 pounds in the rear over the Koenigs per wheel. And it went from 15.
It was 4 pounds.
Yeah, it was 4 pounds from the buddy clubs. Like
So it's total of 12 pounds of weight savings, and it's all unsprung weight. These are 15.5 pounds for just the wheels for 17 by 9.
Yep. I don't even think.
It's amazing how light these are.
Yeah. So, I don't care what anyone says. They're the best wheel.
I mean, they're not the prettiest wheel. They're a pretty wheel, but they're not the prettiest wheel. But
it's far of a balance
for cost,
everything.
weight, and aesthetic. Like I still don't know how you could do better than an RPF1.
Yep. You know, maybe you know, I'll get another set of wheels for this thing because I like having 2 sets of wheels for my cars. One for like more of a daily driving perspective, and then one for like a track focused one. So maybe I'll do something like Advans or
definitely do Advans.
Yeah,
they're going to be heavier, but who cares?
Yeah. If it's just I'm just driving on the street, you know, I don't care, and I'll do a skinnier tire as well.
So welcome to the channel, Matchew's new NC. Let's congratulate him.
Woo!
Golf clap. But we'll be doing the full build and comparisons on this, and I'm excited. I really want to like get deep dive into an NC. All my experiences with them have been pretty positive thus far, so I think, you know, I know Matchew, based on the way he set up his NA, this will be a proper setup NC, and it'd be a great comparison to really see if the NC is something that's worth adding to a collection if you're trying to scoop up whatever you can for the mechanical cars before they're all gone.
It seems like the right thing to do based on like what we already have at our disposal. Like we don't have one of these, and you know, we've done a couple of reviews on these and he's loved them. So
yeah, all right, let's get these wheels mounted up and we'll commence with the build. Stay tuned.
What's going on, guys? Hope you enjoyed that B-roll. This thing looks so good with those RPF1s on. I know RPF1s have been done a million times. I don't care. I love the look of them. They're super light, super strong, affordable. I just think it's a great all-around wheel, and they fit this car so well, especially because you can't fit very aggressive concave wheels on. So for those of you who might have noticed by the B-roll, I did actually swap out the axle section, the axle back section of the exhaust on this thing. I think it had a Goodwin Racing Helmholtz axle back. It sounded great, but I do plan on going to having some kind of catless header on this thing eventually. So I think with that muffler section, it would have ended up being a little bit too loud with a catless header. So yeah, I swapped that out in preparations for that. It's pretty quiet in here now. It definitely could use a little bit more volume. I'm still deciding which direction to go with the car. I don't know if I want to modify the stock 2-liter MZ. A lot of people say go to a 2.5. I don't know about that. There's also the K-swap option, which that kit is supposed to be released this year. So I'm really kind of anxious to see the details on that. I guess it's all going to decide on what the details are with the K-swap kit when that gets released. But yeah, I'm super happy with this thing right now. The new wheels definitely transformed the car. It doesn't rub at all, not even backing out my driveway. I thought I was scraping the ground, but apparently I was just scraping at like a weird angle, leaving my driveway, just the fenders. So that's all fixed now. I can finally like push this car. I've got a bunch of other stuff lined up for it. I bought a bunch of other things that I've still got to install. We'll probably do another video for that. They're all just things that are like common failure points, because I do want this to be like kind of a dual purpose. It's mostly driven on the street, but I want to be able to drive this thing on track too. So I'm taking care of a lot of those known failure points. So yeah, thanks for watching. If you're still watching, do all the things, click on all the stuff. We've got some exciting stuff coming up for this car, as well as Quinn's got a pretty awesome thing coming up now as well. But yeah, do all the things. Oh, gotta get in front of this guy. Love this little car. Needs more power though. Do all the things, like all the videos, click on all the stuff. Done.